Let's go ahead and get Yareli building. You will need to have completed the Vox Solaris quest so that you can get the K drive launcher, and make sure this is equipped in your gear wheel. This is just going to save us a little bit of time later on. Once that's done, we can head on down to Fortuna. And once down here, we can either head up this little ramp just here, jump across, and enter the vent. If you want a quicker way in, you are able to come into the fast travel menu here and visit Rocky. Once in here, you can speak to Rocky or Roki to begin the quest. Once that's done, you're going to be faced with a page. It'll come up in your start menu. Obviously, I'm already finished right now, so maybe you won't see it, but I'll have it pop up. And they are just basically requests that you do some tricks out in Fortuna. There are 5 sets of these in total, so let's go ahead and get started. The first one is actually pretty easy. It is doing the copter. All you need to do is jump and then press forward and your jump button, and you're going to do the copter. Land 5 of those, and that is number 1 done. Next up is to complete a cave drive race. This is very, very simple. When we are on the Fortuna map, you can see we actually have one right next to Fortuna right here. This is very simple. I don't feel like we necessarily need to show you guys how to complete one of these races. It's very similar to the Deveri ones. Basically, you'll start the race, get on the K drive, and then drive through the little circles. And then lastly, for page 1, we need to defeat 5 enemies with our secondary. So if you press your change weapon button, you'll find that you're able to bring your secondary out. It is as easy as nailing some enemies whilst you're riding around on the K drive. Now, if you don't happen to see any patrolling around that are close to you, an easy way to just find some enemies is to bring up the main map and then fast travel to somewhere like the spaceport, and you'll be able to deal with them all that way. Once each page is done, you will need to come back and speak to Roki again so that you can go ahead and get the next page. 5 in total, so let's go ahead back out onto Fortuna so that we can get the second page done. This one's very simple again. All we need to do is the tail planker or nose planker, and this is basically a flip. We can do this from jumping, stand still again. For me, this is using a trigger. I don't know what your PC controls will be, but pull backwards or forwards so that you can do the flips. That is going to get you the plankers. The easiest way to get 5 seconds of airtime is to get into the Arcwing, fly straight towards the sky. Once you hit the barrier, get out of the Arcwing, equip the K drive, and just drop all of the way down. And then we need to get 5 headshots with the secondary, which is exactly the same as getting kills with the secondary, apart from his headshots. So probably don't need to show much for that. That completes page 2. This moves us on to page 3. The toughest one here is going to be doing the 10-second chain, but obviously we have the front and back side rollout. These are side flips. So just like with the front and back ones before, this is left and right flips, and that's going to get you the front side rollout. So you can just stand there and spam your jump button and get those rollouts happening. As for the 10-second chain, we're going to come back around to this way. And remember how we went down this pipe for the race? We're actually going to use that for 10 seconds of keeping a trick chain alive. Can be a little bit finicky, so just be careful. But basically, we want to get up in there and we want to do the grind. So make sure you know where your grind button is. On the Xbox, it's LB. So I assume it's probably L1 on the PlayStation. Obviously, we have like PlayStation, Switch, Xbox, and PC all out now. So just find whichever your grind button is. Get up on here. Get your grind button on. Make sure you've got a trick grind going off like this. And then once we get to the end, we want to jump up, get the direction to switch, then land back on there as clean as you can. This isn't necessarily easy. I'm in a basic board, but so you can see that it is manageable, and doing that even once should probably be enough time. You can do this really as many times as you want, and that should get you the 10 seconds trick chain. That brings us on to page 4. We are flying. Form 2 10x combos, and they can be exactly the same if you wish to. The hilarious thing about that is we can use the exact same method that we just used for the 10-second... Excuse me, I am terrible at controlling the K drive, as you can see. We can use the exact same method that we used to get the 10-second trick chain on the pipe. So you can just literally come on here, do a couple of tricks in between the pipe, and just make your way on down until you get your 10x combo. Do it twice, and then that is finished. K-drive races, as I said, are these purple markers on the map. Pick any 2 that you like. You can do this one right at Fortuna, and then just pick one that's close to a fast travel one. I would avoid the one at the bottom here. This one, for some reason, seemed a little bit more difficult than the others, but these ones over on the left, and I believe these change daily, so yours may look different to mine, but just find a second purple marker and go ahead and get one of those complete. Nice and easy. Which leaves us with the K-drive slam. This is actually a little bit, I don't want to say annoying necessarily, but it's not necessarily ideal. We just fast travel to somewhere that's going to have some enemies if you don't have any patrolling around, and there's no like special button to this. We just literally do a jump and then try to land on the enemies, which is what makes this a bit finicky, and that is going to get you your board slam kills. that brings us to page 5. This is basically a repeat of the last one for us, mostly. We need to get 500 points in the K-Drive trick. Again, we can just come around the corner to the pipe for this. There's really going to be not even anything difficult. All you really need to do is do a trick as you get onto the pipe, get a decent looking multiplier on there, and 500 should really be kind of easy. 10,000 points in total from K-Drive races. You can repeat races for this. So the one next to Fortuna, if you want a nice easy one, this is going to get you about, what, 2,200 to 2,500 to go. 4 to 5 races, that's done real easy. Which leaves you with kill 5 enemies with a secondary while in the air. I don't know if this needs me to explain, but it's basically the same as before, except get yourself a jump and then fire at stuff whilst you're in the air. If you have the epitaph already, that's obviously going to make this real easy, but I feel like there's not too much for me to explain about that. Which brings us to finally turning everything down, speaking back to Roki, and then you should have the first Yareli blueprint. If you want a second one to feed to the helminth, then you're going to want to come to a relay where you'll be able to purchase an extra Yareli blueprint or Samaris standing. Now that we have the blueprint, it's time for us to get the parts, and hopefully you have a fairly active clan so that they have the building that you need to get them from. You'll know because if you come into your fast travel tab here, you will have the Vent Kids Bash Lab where we can go ahead and purchase the Yareli parts nice and easily. 2 sets to make sure you're filling up the helmet, and that is everything you need to know on how to get Yareli.